In these next series of videos, we'll be looking at how we will be applying the biopsychosocial model to another mental illness. We will be looking at anxiety disorders and specifically looking at specific phobias. The lesson outlines for these next few videos will be looking at how do we classify what is a specific phobia. We'll be looking at the biosocial factors that contribute to the specific phobia and how you might use this biopsychosocial model to manage phobias. And we'll also be looking at the biological factors in detail, focusing on the role of a neurotransmitter called GABA. The learning intentions for these videos, you'll be able to contrast anxiety and anxiety disorders. You'll be able to define anxiety disorders, outline phobia, outline the broad biopsychosocial factors contributing to phobia, as well as explaining the role of GABA as a biological factor contributing to phobia. When we look at anxiety, we understand it in psychology as a state of physiological arousal associated with feelings of apprehension. So there is a focus there both on the physical symptoms, but also that cognitive aspect, so in terms of those feelings of apprehension. It is actually an adaptive response. In a way, it is similar to the fight-flight response because anxiety in stressful situations actually makes us more alert and makes our reactions faster. Similarly to stress, mild and moderate levels of anxiety can actually help us to cope with stressful situations. But again, similarly to severe stress, severe anxiety can actually cause long-term problems. So it might contribute to feelings of nausea, dizziness, feelings of pins and needles or losing control, and it might also affect the way that people think, feel, and behave if this anxiety is not managed properly. Anxiety becomes a disorder when these feelings become chronic and when they affect people's daily life in a negative way. It has to significantly interfere with daily life and what they do in order for it to be classified as an anxiety disorder. In class, we'll be looking at different types of anxiety disorder and matching them with their correct description. The anxiety disorder that we will be focusing on though for this series of lessons is specific phobia. Specific phobia is significant anxiety that is provoked when a person is exposed to a specific feared object or a situation, and it often leads to behavior such as avoidance. So, for example, if you have a specific fear of snakes, you might avoid going to places where you know snakes may be present, such as going to the zoo or going to dense bushland. In the DSM-4, there are 5 phobia categories, and these are phobias of animals, situations, blood injections or injury, of natural environments, or a broad category of other phobias. When someone has specific phobias, symptoms might arise the symptoms that may arise are very similar to the fight-flight response, but sometimes it is so intense that it can actually cause a panic attack. So remember, when our bodies encounter a stressful situation or a stressor, the immediate physiological reaction is for our body's fight-flight systems to kick in. However, when there is a specific phobia with the added high levels of anxiety, this can become very debilitating. And for example, instead of these fight-flight responses lasting just for a few minutes, it might actually last up to an hour. And you might have feelings of being sick, feeling dizzy, having shortness of breath, tightness of your chest, being disoriented, and also perceived loss of control. In the next few videos, we'll be looking at the biopsychosocial model, and in the next video, we'll be looking specifically at the role that GABA, a neurotransmitter, plays when we're looking at how this contributes to specific phobias.